Congratulations, you've made it to the end of the course. Great job. We've covered a ton of information and I hope you've really enjoyed it. In this video, let's just hit some of the highlights of what we learned. We started out getting a great foundation around binary numbers and learning how to work with binary numbers. Everything from how to count in binary numbers to how to converting from binary to decimal and decimal to binary. We then got into IP addresses. What do IP addresses look like? How do they function? We also took a look at classful addresses and how classful addresses are broken down. We took a look at network addresses and we took a look at broadcast addresses. We took a look at host addresses. And we learned how to identify those different address types. We learned about private addressing and what those look like. From there, with our knowledge about binary numbers and our knowledge about IP addressing, then we got into subnetting and how to subnet. We figured out things like how many networks we were going to need and how many bits we're going to need to borrow to meet the conditions of that network. We also took a look at subnetting and how to break things down, how to break networks down into sub-networks. Subnetting so that way we can better utilize our address spaces. We then took those subnetting skills and applied it to variable length subnet masking. How do we vary the length of our subnets to better utilize our address space? We then got into hexadecimal numbers because IP version 6 uses hexadecimal numbers to represent the addresses. And so we took a look at hexadecimal numbers compared to other numbering systems. We also took a look at converting things from binary to hexadecimal and also decimal systems, converting back and forth. And so we learned a lot about hexadecimals before we got into IP version 6 addresses. With IP version 6 addresses, we took a look at the formatting of those addresses and how we form those addresses. We took a look at a lot of different address ranges and how it comes up with those IP version 6 addresses. We also took a look at compressing those addresses and expanding those addresses. And then we got into subnetting, both basic subnetting and more advanced subnetting with IP version 6 addresses. We then took these subnetting skills that we learned and we applied it to network architecting. What would we actually see out there in the real world? So we took a look at a network and then we applied both an IP version 4 and an IP version 6 addressing scheme to this network. You're now ready to take these IP subnetting skills and apply them out in this industry. Whether you're going after a certification, because a lot of certifications require you to know IP addressing and how to subnet and how the skills that you've learned throughout this course. Also, if you're managing a network, you have to know how IP addresses work and function. Or if you're architecting, you're going to have to know how to IP subnet. So the skills that you've developed throughout this course can really be applied in many different ways within the IT industry. I hope you've enjoyed this course and I appreciate you going through all of the content.